Alright guys, we are trying to climb the rating ladder. Had a couple of good games yesterday, relatively quick ones, a 99% and a 90%. So we're now 1261, so we're going to start facing stiffer competition. Okay, we are black now against the 1300. Okay, we go normal Kruger stuff. And we have a Spanish. Okay, what are we going to do? I'm going to go Jaenisch Gambit. Or Schliemann. Okay, so we have d3 now. My knight is free to move. It's not pinned. This pawn is under attack and defended by the knight. I can do this. That looks fine to me. That's the only reason why we can't do that. Do need to consider this. So is the move maybe queen f6 now? Or simply d6? But d6 gets in the way of my dark squared bishop. I don't remember the theory for this, so... I mean, that's not the end of the world. I'm just concerned about the exchange. But would they have exchanged already if they... Who knows, who knows? Here, you see, the issue is takes, but then I do have this, so I win the pawn back. I'm going to play knight f6 and even pre-move that. And this is why in the Roy Lopez you take back with the d pawn, not with the b pawn. So capturing away from the centre, which seems unintuitive, but the whole reason is that if they take here and we capture with a b pawn, our queen can't move forwards to d4. Alright, so they brought their knight out. My first thought is to pin the knight and prepare to castle. Is there anything wrong with that? See, actually the difference here though is that white has no d pawn because they've traded it off. So if they did do takes, we could have an immediate trade of queens, which wouldn't be favourable. And then simply lose this pawn outright. So I am wondering whether actually d6 and bishop e7 isn't a more solid approach here. Do I want to get this out? But then they could still, on the very next turn, execute this. That's the issue. Now, if they do that, I'm fine. I can relax. But if I was to do this and they take, or even take the queen, I just don't like that. I don't want that at all. So I am nervous about that. Another option is just to move the knight out of the way. Right, attacking knight and bishop, but then if knight takes, I take back the pawn, queen takes pawn, that's no good. So I'm thinking actually I'm going to play d6. I just wasn't liking the idea of prospect of losing this pawn. Okay, now my other bishop can come out just fine, pinning the knight. That's all fine. This bishop only really has e7 right now, but again, that's not bad. Let's pin the knight. May even now put the question to this bishop, see what it wants to do. I could play queen d7 and then put the question to the bishop. If takes, I've got then double pressure on e4. It also gives me the option of long castles. So here we've got this situation now where this bishop is not happy for the time being, but you get that sometimes. You get that in the French defence. You get a good bishop and a bad bishop. You get it in like the Caricon, get it in lots of different situations. Okay, so the queen's still defending this knight, because otherwise if takes, it's g takes is the only option. I'm not entirely happy about this because basically I'm pinning my knight there. I could try and kick this bishop away, But actually, if the bishop like ends up here still, then it's farewell to my options of long castles. Maybe I just need to get on with castling. Why did White play this move though? I guess just getting out of the pin. That's the point. Yeah, I think I need to proceed with castle. I want to get myself out of this pin as well. This one. So I think that's priority right now. Material is equal. It's all fine. You know, we haven't created any massive weaknesses. That's the point. Queen still has to defend this knight though, unless the knight moves now. I mean, the knight could decide to come here, and he could try and reroute his bishop to one of these squares. But I think as soon as I castle, that's fine. If they give check down here, I can just play king h8. I was actually planning on playing the Spanish myself if I had the white pieces. Just started looking into the exchange variation of the Roy Lopez, which is what Craig has played since he started learning chess. Rated 800 or something. He's now 2300 rapid. And it seems to work very well indeed. Okay, in comes the knight. Curious. Okay, so the point here is if I take pawn takes, I've then got a pawn attacking my pin piece. If I castle here, you take the knight, rook takes or bishop takes, fine. You're not going to take here, you just lose your knight. You might take there, in which case it's still fine. I'm absolutely happy. He can take there, he can take there. My dark squared bishop is certainly my bad bishop because my central pawns are on dark squares and they're not about to change anytime soon, so here we can take there. I could have also taken with the knight, but let's complete development. We may see this coming, but h6 then. Okay, there's the check we talked about. A couple of options. There or d5. d5 doesn't seem to make sense. It's got three attackers. There, pawn takes. Now, we'll just move the king out of the way. Actually, this block has also an idea. I'm thinking if I take here, luring the queen there, I do then have knight d4. I quite like that idea. There. Knight d4 hits the queen and hits c2. So the queen has to come back to defend c2, which means one of these squares, right? It can't go here because knight guards that. She could also come back here to defend. Is there any benefit to this? Takes. Knight in here. I think queen will probably come back. Something like here, attacking this pawn. Okay, so now I can't see a great benefit. So now I'm just going to think about improving. So this is a move that comes to mind to prevent the bishop from going back there. Might also support b5. Could also maybe centralize this rook. I could try and trade off the bishops. I like the pressure I've got on this knight. It's kind of tying this queen down. So I'm just going to play a6 for now. Just start very slowly to try and improve my position. Who's not putting in a shift? This knight isn't delighted with its lot in life. I wonder where it could go. That hits the queen and hits this pawn. Notice the queen's the only defender of the knight and the only defender of that pawn. Is there something in this actually? Ooh, takes here. So I've got pressure on this pawn here. I've got pressure on this pawn here. The queen can't go to this square. So the only place she can go is back to the square she's on now. Also notice that I've got that going on. Okay, this might force my hand. I'm thinking takes, queen back here. Opens up this rook as well to move that knight. If I can move it. Takes, queen takes. I've also got a discovery when I move this. But I can't grab this pawn. Queen takes in here. Queen comes back to there. I'm going to play it because I feel like centralizing this knight with this pressure is a good thing in general. I know I've given up the bishop pair now. No, I haven't. I've given up my second bishop. White has the bishop pair. I think this move is just so natural now. In fact, queen can't go to there. Oh, it can. No, because I've got this potential threat of that. Now she has to go to here, I think, is the idea. Just wondering now about pressing up. I think pressure on this pawn feels like the right kind of approach. There she goes. Now if I do this, the bishop has to retreat that way. Could be an idea. This is defended only by the queen. Bishop's preventing me from doubling up my rooks if I wanted to do that on the f-file. Wondering about kind of getting my queen maybe here. But then I've got no bishop to take out this pawn. It'd have to be a knight doing that job. It's a highly appealing square. What about this though? Bring my knight around. That's two knights attacking this. If I do that, I'm threatening to come in with check. But even this, it does put pressure on the queen. Let's do this. I'm just trying to just move by move, just make my position a little bit stronger. I think my opponent's played perfectly well so far. It's a relatively dry position, I think. Here, though, he might just sack his, give up the bishop. That's no bad thing. I mean, I get to double up my rooks then, and there's no bishop pair to contend with in the endgame. So maybe that's not too bad a thing either, at all. He takes, I get rook AF8. A lot easier to play against one bishop than it is against two bishops. Because I can then use my pawns, more effectively to shut down the remaining bishop. Okay, he's gone for this. Interesting. That attacks rook. Huh. Is he worried about that move? So I can just attack the queen. But then if like pawn attacks that knight, no, I take the queen. Their queen moves. Where's she going to go? Well, she can't go there or there. She's got to defend this square. So she might go here, she can't go there, she might go here, or she might go there. There are three options. This is bad because I get the fork on there, so that one's out. She's not going there. Therefore, she's got to go to one of these two. Okay, so if I go knight here, it's going to be queen here or queen here. Or bishop takes is also an idea. In fact, bishop takes is bad because if I recapture, I lose my other knight. So I think actually I've simply got to move the knight. I mean, that's a sacrifice, Pawn takes. So if my queen was here, that would be really good. But the queen is not there. It's a moot point. I'm thinking knight back here and maybe coming to there as well. That feels kind of good. I've got both knights are now ready to jump in to the f4 square. I might try and position my queen here, because then having a knight off here is a checkmate threat. I'm also threatening to capture the pawn. So it's not the quickest thing in the world. It's actually 2 moves to get my queen there. I'd like to put my queen on g5, but I can't because of the bishop. But again, no rush, right? Slow and steady wins the race, that's the idea. Now I am threatening this. In fact, either knight can come in. Maybe this knight off the edge of the board comes in. Annoys the queen. Also, actually, if they don't take with the bishop, I can move my queen there straight away, and then this check, they haven't got time to take the queen. So that might kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It actually saves me a move, manoeuvring my queen in 1 move instead of 2 moves onto the g-file. That might work. I'm on 8 minutes, so I've got to crack on with purpose at some point. I'm liking this. If they take again, I'm going to take with the rook. No, actually I can just take with the other knight. Even better, I think. Other knight there. Now I can come in here safely. Because there's no dark squared bishop. And we're threatening checkmates, and we're threatening this as well. So nothing wrong with that picture. Now they might decide to trade off this bishop as well, in which case queen takes. Not an issue. I could even jump in with that knight, if that's better. What is my opponent thinking about? They are Sandhog, rated 1308 from Australia. So it's evening time over there, I should imagine. And the sun's come out. So curious. Okay, they've traded. They've decided to give up that bishop. Okay, interesting. And now my dark squared pawns here are now providing a barrier against, sorry about the dogs, against this dark squared bishop. Now, but this is still an option, actually. Now my queen can come straight to the g-file in 1 step and straight to a light square where this dark squared bishop can't be an inconvenience. And then this becomes a real issue, doesn't it? Because I'm hitting the queen, also threatening this, so the queen has to stay on the 3rd rank. Okay, let's think about this. Let's say I get this move in, this move in. If the queen comes here, I checkmate. So that doesn't work, okay? So I do this and this. If the queen comes here, I can't checkmate, but I do have a discovery with the rook. If I move the knight, but I'm not sure where the knight can go from this square. I'd have to come back with a disco on the queen. We shall see what happens. Okay, here comes the bishop. So I think the move is this and then this. I could also just move these pawns up. But I'm not afraid of this. I mean, where can it go? It's got no options down here. I don't need to prevent it from coming down here. So that would be a poor use of my time. So I'm gonna play Queen G6, maybe with the idea of this. We'll see. If I come here, is he going to trade off his bishop? Then I definitely have ideas of doubling up the rooks on the F file. I need to be careful about this. You know, is my knight better than that bishop? It could well be. It's nice having a rook on the 7th rank as well, because then I can defend my rearmost pawn and have a nice pawn like V here. But it's very close, it's very tight. There, now the queen is out of range of the knight. Still. And just looking at the pawn structure as well, we now that quite a lot of material has come off the board, we need to be considering who is better in an endgame situation. Well, my king's out in the corner. I've got a set of 5 pawns and a 2. Opponent's got a 4 and a 3. Very, very tight. In terms of the semi-open files, I think I'm slightly better here. This is my semi-open file. And I've got a rook on it. White's semi-open file is this one, and it's currently a bit of a dead end. So this is the big question. Is he just going to trade off here? And do we mind? Do I want to double up my rooks first and then this idea takes, rook takes? Maybe. Maybe. Okay. Yeah. Also just kind of a waiting move, you know. Giving my opponent time to do something wrong. Oh! And we have activity, all of a sudden. Goodness me. Now, one thing that I notice, anytime a pawn moves, what's it no longer protecting? Well, it's not protecting that square or that square. So, knight in here hits the rook and forks his pawn. Right, so if I go here, he moves the rook, I capture this pawn and hit the queen. And that is all more kind of forcing than this idea. If he does this, just move out of the way. Right? This is a fork. I don't think my opponent anticipated that. You see what I was saying about just giving him a move maybe to slip up? Well, maybe he has. I'm hitting your rook. What are you going to do about it? I think he's going to keep it on here. But that doesn't work. You can't put it on f2 because this is then forks queen and rook. So is he going to do this? Well, then I hit the queen anyway. Queen has to move. I think moving sideways would be wrong. I think he's got to move forward to f3. Okay, now this we kind of anticipated. I'm thinking just that. It could knock me off again. Actually, that would trap the queen, wouldn't it? This traps the queen. I've got nowhere to go because I can't go to this square. I can't retreat. Can't go back here, can't go there. Yeah, so that is out. So I think maybe that's my only move. Queen h5. So let's try that. Hello, Sasha. Dog's just let herself in. Yeah, I'm still attacking the rook. So the danger for now has just briefly passed. Hello, Woody. It's like living in a zoo. You alright, sweetheart? Okay. Rook can't come to here either, so yeah, there we go. So now I simply grab the pawn for free. My knight is not defended there, but can move relatively safely there, or completely safely on f6. We may have tactics as well. In fact, I've also got now 2 attackers on here, now that this pawn has gone. Okay, there goes the queen. Attacking my rook, but the rook is defended. Now, is c6 playable here? Queen can't take there because knight defends. Right? If c6, queen could go in there. That might be annoying. Or is there something worse? quite like that, but there's a part of me that would actually prefer to keep my pawns on dark squares, but that isn't playable because queen takes rook. What else have we got? Okay, so the pressing issue is queen attacking b7. I can just play rook b8. Then they could drop their bishop in there and attack my rook. Then I would have to counterattack the queen. So I'm going to do this because time's running a bit low as well, so we've got to be a bit careful. We might have to resort to some tactics in a bit. Now, there's a pressing issue as well now. I've got two attackers on this pawn. Right, I am a pawn up. I've just hung my knight. She can just take my knight. What on earth was I thinking? You can just take my knight. Right, completely misidentified the issue there. Oh, you absolute peanut. Hunty, what are you like? If I push here, it drops this pawn. That's no good. Gah! Okay, I'm going to double up my rooks. Coming after this pawn. So my opponent has a bishop now. Now, a solo bishop in some ways can be powerful in stopping pawn chases, like in an open board, but we're not there yet. Now, if I can get all of my pieces, all of my pawns, for example, on light squares, then this bishop can move all around the board, but it can't do much. It's confined to half of the known universe. Okay, so we've got three defenders now on here, which is a pain. It is a pain. If I do this and queen takes, I can't really attack. I was wondering about this maybe. That was an idea. There defends this. Where's the queen going to go? I can then now press up with my pawns, build this light square chain of absolute, just kicking myself over this move. Queen's attacking that, queen's also attacking that. So I could have just moved this out the way with tempo. Trade. Maybe queen takes the pawn. Blunders happen. That's my idea. He pushes pawn, I'm not too bothered, I don't think. Could always just stop that pawn with a rook. Also defends this one actually, that's not a bad idea. But we'll see if I can get to move them forwards anyway. 6 minutes now for my opponent. So we're going to end up... Maybe the clock will feature in this, but remember there is also an increment, so... I'm definitely worse now, having blundered that piece. So the idea is that I just ghost everything from this bishop to eradicate that advantage that my opponent has, at least for this point in the game. I'd like to get my queen onto the g-file where we pin this pawn. Or a rook, but it might be tough to get a rook on there. But this is definitely the plan. Pushing these two. Okay. Don't want to get my queen trapped. I'll just counterattack the queen there. But that actually comes with check. That could be a pain. But then rook takes. I'm doing it. I need to move a little bit quicker. If takes, rook takes, and then I've achieved my goal and pinning this pawn. Then you never know. Never know, might threaten to take this rook, take pawn there. We'll see, but right now he's got an issue to deal with there. Could put the queen here. Which I didn't really consider. Okay, queen there is still playable, and I can't actually get out of the way either, so I'd have to trade there. Queen here would be nice, but now if white's sensible here, he should try and trade the queens off, force the queens off the board, which he can do. Stop it. So I got old grumpy man here taking offence at daughter's young dog. So this would be, I think, quite clever. I could come here, queen takes, rook takes. That might be my best bet. But he's got 4 minutes left now. He's got less time on the clock, but he can afford to use it because he is in a stronger position. I'd like to have been able to get my queen out of trial. I really don't want to trade queens in this situation. 2 pawns, 2 and 3. I'm a pawn up. I've got 5 and a 1. This rook, by the way, has to defend this pawn, because otherwise queen can just take. Its only defender right now is pinned. Wow. Check. So I'm forced to take. Rook takes. Rook back here. I don't get it. I don't get it. Is that a mouse slip? He's not sent a message. I can capture here. If queen takes there, I've got queen takes. I can even throw in a check, which forces the king there. I can technically capture with that rook as well, but I'm confused. Don't see what my opponent is doing there. Queen's hanging. There's no checks. Either of these. My queen defends both. Absolute mystery. But it just goes to show that, you know, sometimes you just need to hang in and mistakes will be made. Let's have a quick look at the review. Okay, here we are. And I mean, let's see. Well, what thing is, was I better up until that point of blundering the knight? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I think it was a very tight game. Yeah, tight. Opponent played 83 accuracy, slightly better than me. So all the way up till this point. So actually, right, we will go through. Ooh. Yeah. So that's my. So they played 1850, and I played 1800, and it was pretty solid from both sides. So let's go through it quickly. I want to see what were my biggest. Okay, so this is all book. That's good. I'm happy with this. D6 not ideal. Okay, so the computer did agree with this pin. Yeah, often is a good idea. Thought that pin's all right. And here we're fine. Absolutely equal, like we said. And that's okay. Yeah, it's looking at these tactics already. Now we did play that later. All right, so we do this. We trade off. We come in. Okay, so again, nothing in it. Now round comes the knight, but it's not so impressed there. Same b5. Okay. Okay. Still, absolutely, you couldn't get a cigarette paper between these two. Okay, so queen g6, good move. That's a mistake. It loses a pawn. Why? What should I have done here? Oh. What changed on the board? My opponent undefended his pawn. Simple stuff, right? So that's a miss. Should have won the pawn. I can still win the pawn. So I'm just being dopey here. I'm coming in here to fork this, and the damn pawn's hanging anyway. Yeah, definitely not okay. He attacks my... I could have taken that. You take my queen, I then take your queen. I've won myself a rook, but then you get a rook. I don't know. So what was best here? Take the rook. And I'm actually slightly better, believe it or not. Okay, so if they take here, is it best? It's very natural. Stockfish can't decide. No, rook take... taking back with the rook was best. Okay, so yeah, if they do this, I do this, they do that. I don't know. What do we do here? 7 pawns, 6 pawns. I'm a pawn up. No, he's got 7 as well. I don't know, it looks pretty tight, but then... oh, then I win this. Dopey me. And then I could come in here and block off the open file. Well, that would have been great to spot. But that's not what happened. This is what happened. I move here. Great move from my opponent. Best move from me. Best move from them. And that's my blunder. Right, should have come back. Save the knight, forget the pawn. So there you go. But yeah, I mean, good game, really good game, good tight play. 80 accuracy from both of us, 1800 performance from both of us. Got to hand it to White, he did well. Just absolutely unfortunate. I mean, this at the end, I was holding off because I was waiting for him to say mouse slip and just offer a draw. But yeah, inexplicable ending. But there you go. Such is chess, you know. We wait for these opportunities. So the other thing that interested me is f4. And f4 was a miss. Okay. So I wasn't impressed with that, but the problem is that I was too sleepy to spot this one anyway. But then I've been up since about 3:30 this morning from the dogs waking me up. So yeah, not a fantastic game, but you know, it's the result that counts. You know, sometimes you just have to stick it out and let your opponent screw up, which in this case, ultimately he did. So, you know, luck plays a part, and I'll take it. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you later.